It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your feel-good breakfast show. It's Expresso right here on SABC3. Now, in some exciting news, the dream of commercial space tourism has gotten one step closer with the news that Elon Musk's SpaceX has applied to test its aptly named Starship that could one day ferry humans and cargo to the stars. Reach for the stars. Now, here to help us unpack is our resident tech expert, Bryan Smith, in the house. Good morning, Bryan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Monday. Oh, always. We are so glad that you are here, bringing us ever closer to the world of technology.
And to the skies, though, because now...
And the stars.
Stars and skies and Elon Musk's and SpaceX, which you have to say very, very,
carefully.
Very carefully. So SpaceX, the Starship itself, though, in your opinion, why do you think this is so important for all of us?
So if we look at the history of space tourism, what we've seen up until now, specifically from SpaceX, is that we've seen them test the idea of reusable rockets. And specifically, this has been for the idea of sending cargo to and from space and then again to the International Space Station. This is a hugely important milestone, not only because these type of components that go into these rockets are really difficult to reuse, there's also the environmental impact of having to reuse these rockets over and over again. What we haven't gotten to yet is the idea of reusable space tourism. We've seen a couple of 100 people now go into space on commercial missions to the International Space Station or just into orbit. But what we haven't seen is the idea of being able to freely go into the stars or then one day go to distant planets such as terraforming and colonizing Mars. Now, this kind of Starship, as it's named, the Starship itself, is sort of the next frontier from SpaceX to do this. And testing this kind of vehicle is our first gateway to test the viability of space tourism and just how we might be able to get human beings from one planet to another.
That's crazy, huh? The fact that we're actually talking about this, it's a real thing. So what new tests does SpaceX hope to complete? And eventually, what is the long-term goal?
So ultimately, up until now, what SpaceX have tried to test is essentially the viability of launching this rocket and reusing it heading into the orbit through another vehicle, which is called Starhopper. This is essentially a test bed or of similar components that's designed to test the feasibility of doing this in the long term. Starship itself, however, is the full endeavor of actually sending this kind of vehicle into orbit and beyond. And now its first test is going to be heading 71,000 kilometers up in the air. That may not sound very far, but it is sort of the first step in testing the viability of this kind of procedure, as well as maintaining communications between human passengers on board.
So, very quickly, I mean, this is becoming a very real thing. So how far along in the future do you think that this SpaceX Starship and making space more accessible is?
So that's really the exciting thing, is that perhaps we might even see this as soon as 2021. There is, of course, these kind of tests. We need to make sure that this kind of technology is absolutely safe. If you consider how easily and simply we access air travel these days, it needs to be exactly as seamless. So we're looking at these kind of tests into the near future, and if they're able to essentially nail these kind of missions without any hitches going forward, we could, within this next decade, see commercial space tourism and then again distant missions to planets such as Mars.
Wow. Exciting times. Would you go?
I mean, like, it'll be like Thailand, Mars, Thailand. Yeah, Mars, let's go.
You go first, make sure everything's okay, and then I'll come after, yeah?
Easy, no problem.
Thanks so much, Bryan.
Thank you very much.
And of course, be sure to keep up with the latest tech news right here on Expresso and also on bandwidthblog.com.
Get an insurance quote and stand a chance to win one of 6 Samsung S10 smartphones. Simply SMS the keyword business to 31492 for a call back and quote, and you could be a winner.